Morgenthalers in studio. Thanks for joining us on set here today. If you can tell me, as you found out about your friend, your co-worker passing away from a heart attack, what was your first thought?
Well, I knew that he was fragile, so I'd seen him at the end of, I saw him last at the end of January, and he was quite fragile then. But, you know, it hit me about 5 minutes after I heard the great loss it was, you know, to me personally, but also to the country, I think. I don't think we'll see someone like him again. The way it's the end of an era.
Tell us more about that.
Well,
Why do
you know,
say
Dr.
that?
Morgenthaler was a great hero, and we don't see that very often. You know, he was a family doctor. He was doing very well in his practice, and he decided to start performing abortions because he believed in, he was a pro-choice activist for the Humanist Society, and he had a lot of women asking him, and finally decided, and then he announced it publicly. He went to jail in Quebec, which was incredible because he was a Holocaust survivor. Right. And then after all of that, he came to Toronto. We invited him, and he opened a clinic here and went through the whole thing all over again. And you know, he had death threats. They firebombed the clinic. You know, it was incredible what he had to deal with. But he maintained. He kept his courage, and even after the Supreme Court struck down the abortion law, he kept going, and he fought in every province for Medicare to cover abortions, which they do in most provinces. So I think he's a true Canadian hero, and every woman in this country should be grateful to him.
How frightening was that, not only for him, but for you, and then to keep on going?
Yeah. Well, he taught me a lot about that. You know, for all of us, any of us that were public on the issue, you know, I got death threats. They tried to get me fired from my job. You know, we had all this kind of, it was very, the anti-choice at that time was very intense, very fanatical, and sometimes violent. There were Dr. Gary Morales in Vancouver was shot. And he said, well, you know, there's nothing we can do about that. Like, we have to just keep going. We can't let them stop us. And that's where I mean that he taught me a lot about courage and standing up for what you believe in and not giving in because the other side is so ferocious. We always had a majority supporting us. He always said, you know, the government's against us, the courts are against us, the police are against us, but the people are with us. And he was right. Yeah. Always juries acquitted him, even in Catholic Quebec.
Do you think, and you use the word anti-choice, I'm going to zero in on that, do you think that the debate is just as strong now, that those people are, you know, still doing those kinds of attacks, still making those kinds of attacks?
No, I think we have a huge majority in Canada, probably more than almost any other issue, that support choice on abortion and believe it's a woman's right to choose, which is why even we have an anti-choice government, they're not recriminalizing abortion. But this is a very fanatical minority. They're a smaller minority now than ever before. I think it's 8% of Canadians are against abortion. And they'll never give up. They'll never give up because this is what they believe in. So they continue to organize, and now it's a new generation. So we always have to be vigilant to protect the rights that Dr. Morgenthaler fought for, that we all fought for.
But not all anti-choice debaters and supporters are fanatical.
You know,
it's their difference of opinion.
Oh yeah, I mean, the Catholic Church is against abortion, and you know, they've argued it. They've mobilized too against the clinic. But no, but there is an organized minority. That's what I'm talking about. The people who are out on the streets are organized. Not everybody, of course not. There's lots of people who are against, and always were. There are people in the pro-choice movement who would never have an abortion themselves because it was against their belief, but they believed it was a woman's right to decide for herself. And that was always the debate as far as we were concerned.
Right. Yeah. I want to thank you for sharing your thoughts and your memories. My condolences to you for the loss of your friend.
Thanks.
That's Judy Rebick, a friend of Henry Morgenthaler's, speaking to us in studio.